for it to say starting, which it is. So good morning. Welcome to today's RC Coffee Chat. Now, today we have a very special guest for you. His name is Tom, and he does very wicked things with RC models. Now, Tom, let me just check my notes on here. One of the best questions, which you actually suggested, was, Tom, you get to test and review models for Hobby King. How did that start? Can you tell us more?
Yes, I can. Good morning. Actually, I'm in a local flying club. I'm the president there, and at a forum, I think about 2.5, 3 years ago, I saw that this guy, which is actually, you should check out his YouTube channel as well. It's Dutch RC Adventures. Have you ever seen him? The Danglish accent.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, he asked, does anyone have a good location for a good fly-in? Because a big international company asked me to look around for a location. So I said, yeah, I think we might have a good location. And I got into contact with Stuart, and we did the first Hobby King fly-in together, which was awesome. Actually, that was maybe the best thing I've ever done in the hobby. That was great getting that done. And then we did it again last year. And last year they released the Avios Zazie. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I haven't, but go for it. Carry on.
Yeah. So that's basically an aerobatics trainer for club flyers, because you need short grass or runway to land it. So, and they, for the people that came to the fly-in, actually they didn't have anyone that was really good at aerobatics. So they asked me, listen, this is a new plane. We want to release it somewhere around that flying. So could you fly it for us? Because they saw me, I think because they saw me flying my big Edge. I went to the UK fly-in of Hobby King as well this year. It was really fun. Went with my brother. And so I did. And then then Stuart asked me, well, could you make a video? I said, yeah, sure, I can make a video. And then he asked, well, could you make a review? So I said, yeah, sure, I'll try, And they put that up. Well, we put the review up on hobbynews.com. And yeah, I guess they liked it, because first thing when I entered that review, the first question he asked was, well, would you like to test the Excalibur? And I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, would you like me to check this forward swept wing model, which goes really fast?
Yeah, let me ask the missus. So yeah. And then so now he sent the EFX over. I think that's pretty much the way it is. You have to try to stand out in one way or another, and then that'll happen. I don't think there's a lot of people that get away with sending an email to whatever company and say, hi, I'm this guy and I would like to test the model. Is that okay? I don't think that would ever work that way.
Yeah, I don't think realistically that's going to happen. That's always been, again, just here in the background with the actual YouTube channel itself, is the approach which I took, which is that wasn't going to go for like freebies in inverted commas. There was plenty of other people doing that. So why don't I go and choose a model which interests me, and we'll get it bought and we'll see if it's any good. Yeah. Most of them have been pretty good. Some of them have not been particularly good, but
I'm waiting for that, because right now I'm a happy reviewer, Only good reviews. I have a good track record with good reviews, and I'd love to get something in that's really shit and that I can destroy to the ground, because people comment on my videos, wow, you're so something about the vibe and the way I describe it, and it's like a really happy vibe. So I think that people only know one side of me right now. I think I'm
really happy when you're on the flight line. That's how I got to meet Tom, by the way. To fill in a little bit of background here, is that I saw the EF Extra was coming out, and I'd watched like this overview video to it on Hobby King. It was like, wow, and it was like dribbling, must have. And then there was this weird bloke with even less hair than me in the top right-hand corner, which turned out to be Tom.
That's not entirely true. The part about the less hair than you.
Oh, right, okay.
Come on, we could be brothers.
And anyway, I clicked on this video and there was Tom just going, woof, and then watch this, coolest move in the book. Fuck, what was that? That's brilliant. And I made the reactor do that as well. I couldn't believe it. It didn't go into a flat spin, but if you get enough pace to go across, pull up, bang, boom. Whoa, that is cool.
Sure, but that's the way you should do it, you know. I know it's not your philosophy because you have to do everything close to the ground, and I know. But if you do it up high, you know, the models only break usually. Usually they only break when they hit the ground, right? So if you're up high, just put your sticks in a really weird position and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
The most fun maneuvers start that way, right?
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I was watching one of the other videos yesterday. You were doing flat spins as well. So that's not just ram the sticks into a specific direction and just hold them. You've got the model just flat spinning, and you must be putting rudder in there to hold the back end out as well.
I think so. What video was that?
I can't remember. I watched it last night.
Well, to be honest, actually, I noticed that a lot of moves I do, I don't even have a clue as to what I'm doing. So, and then for the EFXtra video, I was actually thinking about what I was doing because I thought when I did that first, it's actually called a pop top, not a blender. Someone corrected me, but when I did the first one, I thought, well, this is the coolest move you can do with this EFX thing. So why don't I explain how you do it? So I really had to think about it. Flat spins are cool though. Getting really quiet in the background.
Yes, I can hear you in the back. Sorry, I was just quickly typing around to Kev. Kev, the wombat is still here in the background. The missus painted and laminated 2 days ago, so she's out for a remade and hopefully again tomorrow. Happy days. So she has been relegated to the corner of the office, which is because I wanted her in shot yesterday when we were doing the live event. So Tom, can you tell us? Before we go any further, let me just get this up on the screen. I can screen share on here. So let me go and choose that one there. So Tom, it looks like you have been flying for quite some time.
Yeah, I have, but I have had a long break though. You can see that stop around. I started really, it's fun, right? My first transmitter was actually a cigar box that my dad made for me. So he got me into it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he got me into it. So that the red one is actually my first model. I was 14 then. Look at all the hair. Wow.
Oh, I had hair once.
I was a really cute guy. I used to be cute. Seriously. I mean, I date myself right now. But then I quit when I was about 20, 21, and I just picked it up like 3 years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a big gap. I picked it up with the yellow one, actually.
Oh, the one in parts or the one where you're holding it?
Well, that's the same one, obviously.
Oh, there. Would you like to explain how we went from that size of model? We obviously have a complex with size here because the other models you've got are rather large. Oh look, kit form. How you managed to get back into kit form for us?
Yeah. That hurt. You know, actually, this was
there's a ladder.
Yeah. There's all this thick, thorny stuff where it went into, so I actually had to crawl over. And you know what the saddest part is, because it's like a bit of a mountain. Used to be all trash, I think, and it kind of all this green stuff grew over, really thorny, thick stuff. And so I crashed. And the sad part about this is that you know that
whoa! Someone just said the C word. Yeah, unscheduled.
No, that's not the C word. That's an okay word.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay word. I think the others, there's much more dangerous C word out there.
Commitment. We had that discussion yesterday.
Yep.
Sorry, you were saying
All right,
the hill before.
So in that green stuff, I landed this unintentionally. Better?
Yes.
For you, yeah. Actually, what happened was I was really poorly informed because I'd been out of the hobby for 10 to 15 years, and technology has changed. So we went from the old battery packs to the new LiPo packs, and went from the old analog servos to digital servos. And I didn't really understand the relation between the two yet, so I just put an old battery pack in. I connected that to the receiver, and that went to a digital servo. So in a 4-point roll, basically, probably one of the servos drew too much voltage over the receiver, and it went into failsafe, and it just disappeared behind the horizon. That was really sad. Full power.
Yeah, I think we've all had that moment where it's like, oh dear.
Yeah, and the saddest part is on that hill that it was at. I mean, you know that it's not going to be fun looking over there, and you know what you're looking for. I mean, there's no way on earth that you're going to find it any way near intact. You know, it's just you're looking for bits and pieces. It held up pretty well. It's only like 3 big chunks, I think. I expected it to be worse.
Yeah, I'm just there looking at the photo. And by the way, I'll put a link to the gallery in the live chat for you. And I'll also put a link in the video description afterwards too, so you can see the photographs which we're looking at here in the background. Yeah, you've only got a few optional accessories: landing gear, fuselage, rudder, elevator, pilot, ladder, engine. Oh no, was that fuel? No, that was fuel. That's an IC motor in there as well, wasn't it?
A nice what?
Was that IC?
Yeah, sure. Of course it was IC. Come on.
Let's not go there on that one.
No, best not to. Yeah.
So you started off young because of your dad.
Yeah.
And then you had a break, and you've come back to the hobby, and you've gone big, haven't you? You've literally gone big. Let's skip right forwards to today, and let me just put this up on the screen so that everybody else can see this one as well. Can you explain which model this is, and what happened with that one? How did you end up with that model specifically? What is that model? Is it an Edge 540?
Yeah, it's an Edge 540. It's a Pilot RC kit, and I basically just pimped it a bit with stickering, because the way it came in this color scheme, and that's actually a scale color scheme from one of the Red Bull Air Race pilots who flew it like this in the beginning. The Matthias Dollerer is flying a white one right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this scheme only in reality. The actual plane had more stickering of Audi, so I put that on, and it's really cool. So I put the big IC engine in there, 110cc Boxer DLE, which is really cool. With
a lawnmower.
Yeah, 2 lawnmowers.
Jeez.
I like it. So I put a smoke system in there, which is really cool. Yeah, that's
sweet.
Yeah, that's fun. That's really fun. Yeah, and then everything you need for a big plane like that, because if you go that big, then you get the extra challenges of having lots of servos eating lots and lots of power, and you have to supply all that power, but in a safe way. So using what's called a power box in between
They're really expensive.
Yeah, but actually, but when you go above, let's say 60 inch, it's like prices of your models, they go up exponentially. It's not like if you go from the 88 inch, I think you can do an 88 inch for about 15 to 1800 euros. If you would buy everything new, that's okay. You can buy them secondhand. You can probably do it a bit cheaper as well, but well, the thing is, but you don't, because if you buy a model that big, you're not going to save on cheap ass servos, are you? I mean,
no. If you have 1,500 quid in the hole, then everything is in proportion.
yeah.
Something for 120 quid, 200 quid is pocket change in comparison.
Exactly. So, and what happens is that's the 88 inch, right? So imagine that size, and then take the this edge is 107 inch, I think, 104 or 107. Think about the difference in size, but that will set you back double, guaranteed. So it's really exponential. So I think that up now, I have to go up one other size. I have to go up to 125, I think.
There's a comment in there for Anthony in the chat going on in the background. Yeah, right. Try getting that one past the missus. There's no hide in that box, is there, for that one?
No, well, actually, I've got it. You have to go about it in a smart way, right? So basically, when she asks me about the price of a model, I tell her the price of the engine, and then just shut up. And that's how I get away with it, anyway.
All right, okay.
Little does she know. Yeah, it works. It works.
Yeah, and you've kind of like negated the model, the servos, the back, power boxes you mentioned, everything else which goes along with it. Let's say no more.
I know nothing. I just realized that she'll probably watch this video, though.
We don't have to tell her.
Can you edit this out? No.
You're in a brown now.
Should have said no when you asked them.
Ah, right, okay. But they are very cheap in consideration to larger models.
Yeah, it's not like I'm buying a full-size one.
Oh yeah, there you go. Whoa, that's just a whole different league. That's just crazy. So let's go and change topic very quickly. What was your first FPV experience like?
Well, I got really nauseous. Yeah, it was with on quads. My first 3 or 4 flights, I really hated it.
I'm totally with you. That my first FPV experiences were on a quad, and that was very, very weird. And nauseous, I think, was the best term.
Yeah, I think I almost threw up, and then I started getting used to it and started liking it. So yeah, and the funny thing is, I really didn't like fixed wing FPV. I did it with the Tundra, did it a couple of times, and I still have that FPV pod. It's all ready to go. I never use it. I am planning on using it with floats, though. That I think that's fun on the water. But only did at my club we have some gates for quad racing, so I do a bit of that. But no fixed wing. So that was the epiphany for me with the EF Extra. Once the plane starts flying really fast, FPV gets to be really fun. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, so that's why I missed your unboxing yesterday, actually, in between 2 customers. Do something completely different in the daytime. I kind of snuck out and did a couple of lipos of FPV with the Extra.
It's so addictive. It's so addictive. Yeah. And then you start looking for things to fly at, through, or under.
I noticed yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be done. It's got to be done.
This spot where I was flying, there's this opening between the trees. That's very manageable. Yeah. But I am sure that if you keep on, I mean, if I keep on flying FPV with this CF Extra, it's not going to have a very long lifespan. It's not. No.
Well, here's the thing: we've got the I've got here in the background, and I'm just there mucking around with the FPV pod. But the serious thing is that actually tomorrow we're going to be taking her up for the EF Extra out for a maiden, and because of the sheer speed on the thing and my personal issue with throttle management, which is called on or off. Is that I've already worked out that it's actually going to be safer for the model to be flown via FPV first.
Sure, and Siri, about the EF Extra, this is a tip I never told anyone, but the throttle with the EF Extra, just put it on a switch. Put a switch, save yourself the hassle.
Because it just takes like a second just to go and ram that stick up to the top. Just stick it on the switch, yeah?
Yeah, but I think I flew a bit for the review video. I flew at half throttle as well, but when there's no cameras around, it's just.
Yeah, but you were trying to see what was going on in the store. I still remember watching because I watched it a couple of times. You brought it in and then pulled the elevator back, and then it went to go off. But I think your point is that look, if you're going to buy a model like this, you can handle a stall like this as well.
Yeah.
Straightforward.
If you can't, that's another model that won't make it to the museum. Yeah.
It's foam. It'll be fine.
Exactly. Yeah. Just use a bit of glue and you're good to go.
Exactly. They gave us a metal spinner to go on the end, so it can really bury itself in the ground.
Yeah. There's one downside though. I noticed that right now. That is that you've got this little scoop underneath the spinner. So be sure to take something to the field to get all the dirt out after landing, because there's a lot of sand and stuff getting in there. Yeah,
there's also another scoop back underneath the back of the wings as well. I've been and spotted that too. So yeah, you're just going to fill up with mud and tree.
But that second one, that seems to be underneath the or just in front of the ESC, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's for cooling of the ESC. Yeah.
Yeah, what they've done in this one, because I've looked at the previous EF racer, and it was such a cramped little battery bay, because I think they must have had the ESC up in the nose as well. Whereas this one,
no, it was at the same. It was at the same location.
Oh, same location was it?
Yeah. So they found a way to, because I think for the outside they used the same mold. I mean, I didn't really see a big difference in the shape of the fuselage, so they just opened that up, I guess.
Absolutely. So, I was just someone suggesting, Matt, have you bought a spare yet? The great confidence everybody has in my flying abilities. But yeah, there's two scoops underneath, and there's loads of room in the front. It is positively roomy, and I've got a 2.2 graphene pack, which 4S, which I think might actually fit in there. So I'd be curious if I can squeeze that in there. Yeah, but tomorrow is a maiden day, and I am a little bit concerned again because of my throttle management issues. So I think we'll just go straight in for an FPV maiden, and we're going to one of the flying sites where I actually learned to fly. And I also learned to fly FPV there, and you just can't go wrong at that flying site. It's a big square field. Everything is instantly recognizable to me. So I'm going to my safe place tomorrow, where I know that I can go bonkers, and if I get disorientated, because I know that I'm just going to scream it to the back of the field and point it north, or point it towards the moon, and then go for a little spin. Is that when I come back down, I will know where I am because I've seen the ground so many times before. So, yeah, that's my plan for tomorrow. And then,
did you do that before? Did you do that before? A maiden straight into FPV?
I've done it with several of the wings. The one which stands out was the tiny little Hornet FPV flying wing. And it just stick the goggles down and threw it, and that was at a new flying site as well, somewhere I'd never flown before. But I obviously spent the time to look out on Google Maps. I knew where all the major landmarks were, etc., etc. And I was wearing a bright orange hoodie, so you could see me a mile away. And yeah, I've done numerous FPV maidens like that. Just chuck it. off we go. It's only Dave, one of the guys which I fly with, is probably got me more back into a sensible routine, which is fly it and trim it in first, line of sight, and then stick the goggles down or land it, swap batteries, whatever, and then go off and take it. And I think it was with the Wombat, which is sat here in the background. That's the approach which I took for that one. I didn't go straight into FPV. I took for a quick fly around, which actually I'm glad that I did. I'm talking about the Wombat just for a second. That one was, it is such like a strange experience, and I mean this in like a really good way. It's extremely floaty. When you look at the model, you think it's just going to drop and lose its height. But it doesn't. It keeps its height. It's so weird. Unlike other models which I got there, you take off the throttle and that's it. It's just sinking towards the ground. That one keeps its height. It's such a nice flying experience because you can do things which you wouldn't normally be able to do. So, for example, you spank it across about 2-3 foot off the ground and you go inverted. You don't need to put like loads of correction into it, so you can fly across the field inverted, and then you spin it back round, and when you come back out of it, you haven't like gained like 40 feet in the sky. Very, very cool. Mike says you did it with the clouds line of sight first. Yes, I did do the clouds line of sight first. Yeah, that was 14 hours into that one, and that was a bit of a scary maiden. Imagine doing that. Those of you which have seen the XUAV Clouds Maiden, yeah, I'm so glad I did that line of sight. Did you see that one?
No, didn't see that.
Oh, yeah, 1.8 meter wingspan, doing stalling on itself. How I saved it.
Cool.
I think I just said the F word. It was just like, don't stuff it in my hat, and it was just one of the scary. It was the scariest maiden I've ever had. So Tom, come up. I can talk forever. So coming back to yourself, you mentioned with FPV, you'd found the original experience quite nauseous and it probably quite disorientated. I know that's what I had. And then we got into the EFX Extra. And you don't think that model's going to last very long if you continue to fly it with FPV. Do you feel that's because you're just going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing?
Oh yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do with especially with smaller planes. I've come back from that a little bit with the big ones. If you look at the same album, you see my first Edge laying around, and then that hurt a little bit because that was actually my fault. Like 100%, I just flew that. Wow, it was unintentional, but I really flew it to the ground. Yeah. But no, I like to try new stuff. So, and once you're flying this thing FPV, then the new stuff will be obstacles, I'm guessing, because the lower you are, the better of a sense you get of the speed. The higher you fly, it's like sitting in a Cessna, something really slow.
You're absolutely right. Now I have kind of two flight modes for me. Is that I do like the high, and I like just enjoying the experience in the grounds below, and you because your face is on the front of the model, you just chill out. I find it so relaxing and so enjoyable. But then there's this other part of me which likes to be as low as possible and to be as crazy as possible. Yeah. And when the piece of foam only costs like 30 quid, 40 quid or something like that, you really don't care. In fact, when the FPV camera costs more than the rest of the model, you just don't care. You just open it up and I'm doing my favorite circuit, which is T-boner. Down through Dead Man's Arm, down Suicide Straight, back round the Tree of Doom, and let's do that again. And do it till we're sagging a bit now, and just keep doing it. But it's got to be done. It's got to be done into FPV. And when you can see the blades of grass have turned into a blur because you've got so low.
That's it. That's exactly it. Yeah. The ants should look like people The people shouldn't look like ants.
I tell you what, my favorite maneuver for you, and you've got to try it with FPV, is that like over at your flying site, what we do, what I do is with a hedge line.
Yeah.
So you've got a hedge line, and you come in as low and as fast as possible, and you pull up at the last second when you think the model's going to go into the hedge.
Playing chicken, cool. Yeah.
Playing chicken with a hedge. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Don't do it with trees. That never works out very well because you don't see the ghost branches. They're very thin ones at the top, and invariably you're clipping. But hedge is normally fair game. But then once you've progressed to going full and playing chicken with a hedge and then going up, okay, is to do bunny hop it.
Cool. Yeah.
So you go up, down, and then you go back down on the opposite side, and try and do that as fast as possible. It is brilliant. And of course, you just keep going back, and you just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it.
Thanks for the advice. That's going to cost me a few models.
Possibly. I haven't put it in a hedge yet. Put it that way. So
not yet. That's very chicken.
Yeah.
You're way too safe. You're way too safe. I mean, you can't, Matt. You can't ever improve if you don't push it to the limits. Come on, come on. And you've got all these viewers that have high expectations of you. Come on.
I know. I did something wrong by naming the channel Rag the Nuts Off. I kind of set the expectation bar rather high for speed and failure. So.
If you don't, you know, if you don't want to do it for yourself, just do it for your audience.
Thanks. I think we should do a lottery on how long that one's going to last.
That should be a good one.
Yeah. I do feel it's somewhat dependent upon the weather because the number of flights which I'll have. So let me just quickly check the weather here, and we should do a. Oh, yeah. Next week looks terrible, so it might actually last 2 weeks. No, the weather really does look horrible here for the next week or so. So, yeah. I don't think it's going. I'm going to be brutally honest. I don't think it's going to last me very long. Because like you said, I'll end up doing something silly with it. I'll try and fly it through balls deep or something like that at full speed.
It screams,
which is not a very big gap. It will fit.
Listen, go with trees. You know, because I have this theory, which is 70% accurate, I think. And I have to remind you that 76% of all statistics are made up on the spot. But having that said, trees consist of 90% air. Think about that.
Exactly, and there's got to be a way for it somehow.
Yeah.
You remind me of one of my mates. We used to play pool, and his logic was, I'm going to hit that white ball as hard as possible, and there's an angle. If I hit it hard enough, that ball's going to go in eventually. Bang!
Trees are cool though. I do visit quite a lot of these fly-ins because I like to go to other places and meet, you know, other pilots and see their models. And I was at my brother is one country down the road. He's in Belgium, and they had a fly-in, and there was this one tree, and there was a guy, and 15 seconds before impact, you knew what was going to happen.
Oh, you know that. You
some way.
know when something's going to go wrong. You see it happening seconds before.
With a big ass model. It's like 55cc, 88-inch, 90-inch, full speed, and you just knew the tree. And what was fantastic was what happened was you see this model coming really fast, and then the model disappears, and you see a tree, and then just a fraction of a second later, you see pieces coming out of the other side.
Actually, you just remind me. One of the lads up in one of the flying clubs, he was a balsa model, and I've never seen anything like it. It went in the ground, and you know, like a nuclear blast where you get the big mushroom cloud. We had that with balsa. I've never seen anything like it, and it was so surreal. It went in the ground, and it was just this big cloud of balsa just went into the sky, and it was just snowing balsa, and it was just everywhere. It was like a 2-bin bag like job to go and collect it because it was just so
the
much.
best ones actually are old models, old balsa models, because the balsa dries out, and when it dries out, it makes more pieces.
I'll put that to the test with a cement mixer very, very shortly. Which those of you who know about the cement mixer episode, I will get around to it at some point.
Okay.
I've got 2 balsa models here which are completely knackered, and I think we'll stuff those in the mixer at the same time. I'll probably do it live for poops and giggles. Right, let's change the topic slightly. Now, there's a lot of passion around this topic, and this topic is transmitters and receivers.
Yeah.
Where do you sit? What transmitter do you use? Is it like the one which you started off with?
Yeah, I fly Futaba, and I started with it and just stuck with it because it always worked for me. That's it. I'm a fan. Although they do have, Futaba has a few issues, like you have to. So I do some instruction as well with the cable between the 2 transmitters. So you have to be really careful because half of the Futaba transmitters are on 1 voltage and the other half are another voltage, and you can kill that. And they've got like 7 different protocols at the moment, I think. And you have to be careful because I actually heard that if you do this one software update to your transmitter, then certain protocols won't work anymore. So they've got issues, but I've never had any problems with Futaba, so just stick with it.
Yeah. So, and that's because maybe that's what you started off with, or is it just proven to be, and that's what you stay with because you know it?
Yeah, that's it. And there's not really, I mean, all brands are good right now. Yeah, Spectrum has a bit of sometimes some reliability issues, from what I gather, that they lose signal sometimes. I don't know what that is, but other than that, it's all just go with what you like.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember looking at the price of the Futaba transmitters, and I was like, I'm not paying that. And then it made the Tyrannus look cheap in comparison.
Yeah.
And that's why I ended up with the Tyrannus, and I love mine to bits. The FR Sky kit's been really, really good.
Yeah, I see a lot of guys flying with them, and I don't hear any real issues. And you get to put the sounds in. That's fun.
Oh yeah. Mine. I've got the Amber mod on mine, which is a woman's voice in there, and I've set mine up specifically so that it does talk to me: high rates, low rates, mid rates, engine armed, engine disarmed, whatever flight modes I'm in as well. Yeah, with the bigger FP of the aircraft, and that is exactly what I need, and it works brilliantly. And on the flip side with the Tyrannus, that there's at least 3 ways of doing exactly the same thing. And that can be really confusing at the beginning, really, really confusing. It's perhaps maybe too configurable because of the software which is on it. And I say that really minimum of 3 ways you can do anything, because you could go off and do whatever.
Yeah,
it's deep, which is which is definitely a positive. But the learning curve is steep. So, Tom, the other question which I've got for you is that how many models are you willing to admit to that you've stuffed?
I don't know. Do you want me to count them or just give you a rough estimate?
To the nearest 10 would be fine.
I would like to say 20, but that's probably far off the truth. But probably be between 30 and 40, I think. Once again, that that if you I sometimes I used to build all my models. Now I do a lot of ARF and obviously the foamies come PMP. But the first thing I learned was my dad and we built my Taxi 2 from Graupner, the trainer. We built that together. And we arrived at the field the first day we were going to fly, and he said, listen, take a look at it. We're going to take a picture now, and just mentally say goodbye already. That's the best.
Oh, really? That's the confidence which you have.
No. Before you're maiden, you should be mentally prepared to let go of that model. They are gonna go one day.
That's true. That's true. After all, it's only
still too attached to it. Don't fly it yet. Just look at it for 2 more weeks and then go fly.
It's funny you should say that. And I know like some of the like, as many of you know, there's 4 parts to this hobby: design, build, fly, and repair. And everybody's got repair. But the other 3 sections, I know I've met so many people which just love the build stage, and then are really, really scared to fly the model. And so some people, which I can think of 2 people specifically, which have built models for years and have only recently learned to fly, to actually fly them because they enjoyed the build stage so much. But like from a personal point of view, you're absolutely right, Tom. Is that I have no space here for wall hangers. The models need to get flown or they go, and I am pretty ruthless in them going. The only model which will stay, which I probably won't fly for any great time from now into the future, is my original AXN, but that's the one which I have a real sentimental attachment to, because that one took so much grief, and I still can't believe it's roughly all in one piece. It's got clips all over the place, and it's got more carbon than one would deem necessary, and too much tape on it, tons of hot glue and stuff. But that's probably the only one which I got a sentimental attachment, which won't go. The others,
like the Top Gear Toyota Jeep.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You see the photos on Facebook, and you've got the tail hanging off, and the nose is smashed. Well, they don't fly great until they've been stuffed in the ground at least 3 times.
They need tape and glue. Yeah,
it helps the CPA and penetration through the sky. That's what it is.
It's true.
Oh, let's have a quick look. What was the other question which I've had? You mentioned it's a taxi. They also do, what's it, a 2.6 meter wingspan taxi as well, if I remember correctly? Yeah, there's a huge one. One of the lads up at one of the flying clubs is got one. He's got the smaller one, and then there's an absolutely huge one. I might be saying it's bigger than what it is, but I know it's at least 2 meters. It's a massive wingspan. Absolutely beautiful. Now, let me just jump across to the screen, because I've got your gallery up here, and choose that button there. So we started with what happened here, Tom, because I would like to announce landed for that one.
Definitely. It's a landing. Come on, it was the belly was facing the ground, and the wings were level. You see that?
Yeah.
Pretty good effort, right?
Yeah, really good. Just a couple of optional accessories included in the kit.
Yeah. This was just your standard. Probably you recognize it. Your standard brain overload. Something went wrong, and I tried to correct, and it didn't work. And in the end, I didn't know what I was doing anymore.
Oops.
Yeah.
Oops. Now,
which was stupid, because actually, when I made the original mistake, I could have just what you teach everyone when you just learn to fly: go wings level, power up, pull out, and just go about your flight. I could have done that easily. I would have recovered with 50 meters to spare, and I just kept on doing wicked stuff with the sticks until the inevitable happened. Yeah.
So, sorry, indeed. Now, let me just get back on the screen, because you told me something really, really interesting, which I was really surprised about this, is that you mentioned that they have kits available, so you can take a photograph of this. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Well, that's awesome customer service of this Pilot RC. It's a Chinese company. So they make ARFs so cheap you can't make them yourself anymore for that price. I mean, it's way too cheap labor over there. I get that. But then what you do is you take a picture of your crash, and they'll just put together a crash kit for you with fresh laser cut the wood parts that you need for the repair. So this one is actually waiting to get fixed, and I'll have a spare one. Yeah, and that they send that to you. I think you only pay for shipping.
That's nuts.
That's customer service. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah,
That's customer service. You literally just take a photograph of it, and they'll send you the parts which you need.
yeah. I think they just love to watch photos of crashed planes. I think that's the reason they do it.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
Please send pictures of debris.
Yeah, send pictures of debris. Yeah, please send us. But no, on a serious point, on a model like that, then it is going to be rarer than like someone like myself who will just go out and do stupid stuff. That's not the norm, is it? If you're buying a model like that, you don't do that every day, and it's a rare instance.
Well, no, not every day, but also it's a 3D plane. So you see people flying 3D, they're pushing the limits. So, you know, at a certain point, you will do touch and goes while doing rolling Harriers. And then you might do a touch and go, or just a touch and stay, actually. You know? So it does happen with big planes as well.
Nuts. Now you also did you have a biplane in here as well?
Oh, you're going to show my honey bunny. Yeah.
Yeah, let me get that up on the screen. So we're going to find out.
Yeah, this is love. This is real love. This is what real love looks like. Where is it? I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm getting there. There we go. This one here, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's my love. Yeah. This is only I have to fix the pilot because he looks like he's in a coma after the first loop. You see that? He's
Yeah,
with his face flat against
himself. Or he's just vomiting between his legs.
I don't know. But this is actually this one we're laughing about crashing C wording, but this one is really I don't think this is the one that I do fly because they're meant to fly, but I'm not mentally prepared to let it go. It's it's a scale model of a Belgian airplane actually, and that's why there's sentimental value because I'm Belgian, and it's a Stamp SV4B, and it was the training aircraft for the Belgian Air Force, which is cool because they originally they bought 66 and they put the number of the plane on the cowling of the plane. So, and the fun thing is that in reality it looks like this. It's based in Antwerp right now. Mm-hmm. I'm going over there with this plane to make pictures with the plane with the original in a month or so. That's really cool. Yeah. And it's got the same number than it had when it was in the Air Force. And it's got this, that's a fun fact, it's got the penguin on the back. Which
yeah,
is
I saw that on the rudder.
Yeah.
What was that for?
Well, which is actually the mascot of the training squadron in the Air Force, because this used to be a training plane for the Belgian Air Force. And they referred to their student pilots as penguins because mentally they're birds already, but their wings are too short to fly, you know? So, and then that's fun. And then if you got up to a certain level in the flights, certain proficiency level, they get a badge which would say Agile Penguin on it. Still today in the same squadron.
Really?
That's fun. Yeah. And I love this is actually a 3.20 plane with a 62cc engine with a 1 to 2.5 reduction. So that's cool. The prop actually spins at about full power at about 2,500 RPM, whilst the engine is doing about 8,000.
Yeah, what size is that propeller? Is it like measured in feet?
Well, actually, what's the biggest size you have there, you think?
It's either a 15 by 8 or a 17 by 8.
Yeah, this is a 34 by 20.
That's nuts.
Yeah. It's fantastic because the propeller is made out of 5 or 6 layers of wood, and they have darker wood and lighter wood. And then
Yeah, I
when
can
they
see it. It looks
sanded it,
absolutely amazing. By the way, let
oh,
me just get this back up on the screen for you so you can see what I'm looking at here. So we're looking at the propeller section here. Let me see if I can max that out. Sorry, Tom, you were saying about the wood, the mix between the.
yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it looks fantastic. You can't see it here because it looks straight, but I mean, it's fantastic woodwork. It's yeah. Yeah, so this plane and I really love it because most people at my club, when I just got this, they couldn't believe it that I like this kind of plane, because most of the time I'm just flying my planes are around like a madman or like a maniac. I'm doing 3D and low, inverted, fast, whatever. And on this plane I actually fly it and try to fly scale aerobatics with it. And the more I train, the more it starts looking, but it's really slow and gentle and elegant aerobatics, and that's I really love that as a change to what I normally do. Yeah.
That's more almost like a sign that you are progressing in what you're doing. That's one thing which I've noticed, is that my entry into a specific maneuver is normally not specifically not very graceful at the moment, to say the least. It's more bang, way, here we go.
Yeah.
Look at that go. Whereas on a model like that, and it is that you have to where maybe what you're doing now with the Edge 540 is a model like this, because it is scale, you have to be more graceful and thoughtful on your entry, in the actual maneuver itself, and then in its exit and its continuation into the next maneuver. Is that?
Oh, it's completely different. That what you yeah, but that's the sign of a good pilot anyway. I think if you do aerobatics, it's not your ability to do one maneuver, but it's the ability to tie those maneuvers together so it looks like your whole flight is a predetermined program, whether it is or isn't.
Just for the record, most of mine are not. I'd just like to say
but
that.
Mine either. I really have to focus to get a nice program together as well. But then with the stamp, the thing is that if you fly an edge, and same as your 3D planes, if you just spank to full throttle, then the plane will pull out. This one doesn't. It's not wickedly overpowered. It's actually power to proportion, really scale. So if I want to make a nice looping, I have to take a full power dive first to build up airspeed. Otherwise, I can't just go level and put full power and pull a looping. You just won't make it. So it's a lot of energy management, and I never did that with not really with other planes before. So that's what I like about it, I think.
Yeah, that must be very surreal, because I mean, I'm used to a decent thrust power to weight ratio, and you can pull yourself out of pretty much any mess at all.
Yeah, well, you can put with this one, you can easily put yourself into a mess that there's no coming out of anymore. Yeah, which is fun.
Yeah, I'll leave that alone for a while. I quite like overpowered, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. But still, it's a different. So and it's fun because I took it to one fly-in last year, and it's so cool to see the reactions of people to a plane like this. It's just a pleasure to fly it in front of an audience. And actually, that fly-in was actually more like a model air show at Royal Broken Wings in Belgium, and they have this really good speaker. This guy is like an encyclopedia of airplanes. He knows everything. Show up with a random airplane and he'll tell you how many were produced, what engine was in there, all the facts. And while I was flying, he was talking, and he was talking about this one maneuver that the French used to do with it. It's called the French M, and it is actually a stall turn. And instead of recovering, a hammerhead, instead of recovering normally, you don't pull out, but you push out and go for another one. So you're actually riding an M in the sky. And so he came to me and talked to me afterwards, and I started. He gave me a lot of information about that's fun about scale airplanes. They've got history, so even once you have one, you want to know about that history, right? And so he told me about that maneuver. So now I have a bet with him that if by next year's show I can show a nice French M, then he's buying the beer, and otherwise I am.
There we go. That's not bad idea. So you just bring her in, go up to a stall turn, let it flip over, but then come back out inverted and then go back up again, or do it inverted.
Yeah, you actually do so you go up, make the stall turn, and then push over in the stream, push over inverted, push up inverted, and do another one, and then pull out again.
Nice.
And it's actually quite hard. I thought, that's a piece of cake, but it's actually quite hard to do it straight and good and nice. Yeah.
Yeah, well, doing anything straight is really hard in a model. I'm just thinking, that would look really cool from the flight line, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We've got to give that one a go. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Happy days. So, Tom, I'm thinking I've just kept an eye on the time. We're coming up to an hour, so I think it's time for us to wrap up. I would like to say thank you to everybody, and I've been trying to keep half an eye on the chat, but to be honest, I've really been enjoying chatting to Tom here this morning. If you've been enjoying this live, thank you for joining us in live. If you've got any questions for Tom's link to Tom's YouTube channel is in the video description for you. You can leave a comment underneath this one as well. If you've enjoyed today's episode, do us both a favor, hit the like button underneath this video. And ultimately, I want to say thank you, Tom, as well. I've learned a lot today. And the other thing which I've learned is that this hobby unites people from all over the globe. The thing is that once we're in the air, we're all equal. That's the thing, is show us what you can do on the sticks, and Tom, you can do some crazy stuff on those sticks.
I try.
So Tom, I genuinely mean this. Thank you ever so much. I have really enjoyed today. And also thank you for getting up so early and joining in with us as well. I have really, I'm going to repeat myself. I have really enjoyed this morning. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for having me.
Cool beans. So on that note, we're off. If you are out flying today, have a fantastic day's flying. I would have a sip of my coffee, but that is stone cold now. And if you're not already subscribed, remember there is a red button underneath this video. Press the subscribe button. If you press the bell icon next to it, you will get notified the moment the next episode has been produced. We do run these RC coffee chats every single morning. Sometimes we have super cool guests like Tom. That was sweet. And sometimes it's just me chatting about RC. That's the way it is. So on that note, for myself, Matt, and Tom, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you shortly. Cheerios.